when I came in, I kind of noticed that the company had grown tremendously while being focused on just about everything other than systems. And of course, like systems were in place, but during that time of a startup's growth, it tends to be very siloed, right? Like every kind of executive is empowered to, hey, you got a problem and you need a system and people to run it kind of mentality, like just go get whatever you need. And so we had done that. And so we had a lot of systems, we had a lot of process, but as we kind of grew, you get to a point where you start to realize that a lot of these systems are like duplicative. Some things may need to work together, but not work together. There's a lot of like manual handoffs and kind of looking, that was like a theme across the whole business. So we kicked off an evaluation and looked at the kind of iPaaS landscape to see what would be like a best fit for us. And we looked at kind of all of the known players in the space. Didn't want to, roll the dice on something very kind of new and small. We needed something established. And obviously we ultimately chose Workato just from like a usability and perspective, and the desire to not just have a platform that is something that the IT team uses or the systems team of integrations engineer uses, but something that we could like ultimately deploy out to like other departments or business users to make more kind of small scale automations. And just something that fits within kind of like Seismic's empowered culture. One of the things that has been very true for us for the last several years is we've acquired a company about once a year for the last few years. And so how to handle that has become something I think we're starting to get good at. But we typically buy companies that are like complementary offerings that come with a lot of like cross-sell opportunity. We obviously want to sell the other products we have to every other customer that has the other ones. So of course you get asked like, oh, like when will this all be ready to go in Salesforce in like one combined instance with new price books? And the answer to that, unfortunately, is, maybe a year or so, but that's of course not what people want to hear. So in an effort to be able to have good answers for like, how do we cross sell? How do we like go to market in a cross sell campaign? We used Workato to establish some metadata sync between our account records in two Salesforce orgs. So this is a way to like, in the first month after an acquisition, to be able to, drive that cross-sell revenue, which went quite well for us. A not so great process to actually spin up a tenant. Our solutions engineering team kind of needed to do it for every demo. We had others who were in charge of production ones, and we had some like kind of a form like that was tied to like our actual infrastructure. It didn't have a lot of governance. We had to have like a very loose and approval process, and it was clear that we needed a new solution for managing tenant infrastructure. We decided to put it all into Salesforce and build it. Have Workato kind of broker not just the requests from kicking off to tenant build in Salesforce to our tenant management service, which we call TMS, but some kind of like really cool automations in Slack to manage our demo tenants. I kind of want to think about some of the business impact and ROI around having done this. I think like there's definitely an inherent, like obviously manual things used to be manual and now they're fully automated. So like it's literally just off the list of somebody's to do task list. We kind of looked at, especially within the quote to cash area, how much time we saved. And we estimated it was about like 3 days of an FTE in our finance team as a month-end task, going in and doing all the CSV downloads of of orders or time entries, manipulating the data, having to like manually import orders and invoices. So that's about like 3 cumulative days of month-end finance work that just no longer exists because the data just flows through. And then another just like thing that we saved a ton of time on is just we've had like probably 90+% fewer errors and bad data going into those kind of parallel work streams that I mentioned early on, where like we would end up with issues where like, yeah, if you enter your order for billing in one system manually, for RevRec manually in another system, and track an entitlement separately, like obviously you're going to have areas and moments where you're like, wait a minute, why don't those align? But now that we've kind of got all of those kind of just being fed from what happens upstream in CPQ, we're spending a lot less time trying to like back out an order in any one of those systems, or just having to like go through and try and reconcile why one thing is different from another.